answer to the question. Do you need the micros? Should we try and pass it on?
Well, I can. Yeah. My question goes to Nadeau Sensei. If you read books or if you hear stories about Do Sensei, you always see Japanese expressions which Do Sensei used a lot, like Takemuso Aiki. And I know there are various interpretations, but one of the expressions which I'm curious about what it means, or maybe you had the chance to hear that, was the expression of Do Sensei when he said he stands on the floating bridge between heaven and earth. Yeah, so may you tell me or tell us a little bit what it could mean?
I think you mentioned Miles, you mentioned a reaching down and a reaching up. Who reaches down?
The agape is the divine reaching down to the manifest.
Okay, and back the other way?
Eros is the manifest reaching up to the divine.
That's a bridge.
That's all.
It has many dimensions or something, so it's not too mysterious for you. Let's bring it down to the simplest form. Bobby, okay, Bobby. Bobby stands here. Now, if there's a collapsing and little space, in that space mixes up a Robert. Now, Robert is sitting here, standing here. There's a bridge between Bobby and Robert. Can I simplify that any more than that? Okay. So there's a connection. Before I met Do Sensei, I used to call it a stringer, that we're never really lost. We're always connected to original. Okay. Do Sensei used a similar phrasing not so long ago. And that this connection that we have to an original starting point is always present. And so if you follow your own line back to a more original, that's bridge-like. And the Golden Bridge is pretty far back, very close to the beginnings of creation, very, very fancy. Okay? But to not let the bigness or purity of it scare you. There's a lot of these smaller bridges are eventually the same bridge. Does that help?
Yeah.
Is that something?
Yeah.
Do Sensei got so advanced pretty fast. A lot of these things he couldn't simplify for the troops like we can. And then he said he tried to be simple, but they didn't understand anyway. So, he gave the impression of, please go ahead, lay it out simpler and clearer. That's very important. So I think he realizes he overshot the people, gave them sometimes too big words that they couldn't handle, and he'd like to take some of those words back. A little late, but he would like to, because it got people reaching too far for too much and missing click, 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 click. You know, instead of being present here and now, they're trying to reach for something fancy. To give you a better sense of a connection, bridge, I mentioned today purposefully something about hara, or 1 point, in class today. Anybody remember? I did that purposefully because another type of connection, or that's a, I don't know, what would you call on a something click, something click, something click, like a chain, that if you start with a center, even at your first simple Bobby level, file that away, because Robert has one also, and it's a direct link from Bobby's 1 point to Robert's 1 point to Nadeau's 1 point to Dojo Cho's 1 point, on and on. So I purposely threw that out, hoping if you have ears you'd hear it. Okay, so that would be a type of connection that eventually would probably show like the Golden Bridge, but you'd realize the connection.
Okay, so keep thinking. I'm sure there's questions out there.